All right, here we go. Back. I'm gonna get pretty close to being done, I think. Tonight, here, now. I'm gonna start with basing the gold on the staff and the hilt. And while that's going, I always forget this thing goes off. While that's going, I'm gonna go back and do the highlights on the armor. And let me pull up the Twitch live dashboard thing and turn off my sound. All right. So here we go. I'll pull this up, give there so I can see it. All right. Now, palette update. This thing, the everlasting wet palette. It keeps, again, I keep saying this doing this whole job here. It seems to be keeping it wet, but it's pulling up so much water that everything gets so runny at times that it's hard to come back to it. But other areas, it dries out really fast. Like, I just had to add more water to it, and it's only been 2 days, a day. The seal just sometimes does not feel like it closes as well as it should. Gonna keep at it, see if there's some things I need to do. I did not keep the elastic band on it to see if that helped this time. But like I said, like this right here is just the Retributor armor that I added a bit of water to. I mean, it's still really good. I'm just gonna mix it up. It's really thinned down. I don't remember thinning it down that much. I could go back and look at the video, but it's very thin, and it seems like the paint pulls up a ton of water at times, and it almost depends on the color. Like this black, I don't remember any, like, let me see it. I don't remember adding that much water to that black to where it rolls if I just tilt it barely, but we'll see. So let's get started here. I'm gonna just do 2 coats of the Retributor armor on here, and I forgot my tea upstairs. So I'm going to take a pause and come back. So when you're not seeing something on the screen, did I miss something? Yeah, it looks like it. That's too thin. Almost. I don't like that. I'm going to run up, grab my tea upstairs. I'm going to add a little bit more gold. Let's center that. I'll be right back. Be right back. All right, back. Let's get started. No, I don't know how I missed the back side of that. But I'm going to add, I feel like, I'm just going to hit that with that. No one would have ever seen that in real life, but I didn't like it. Okay. So let's get back to this. Saw a piece under there that needed it. And metallics are hard. If you let them sit on there, they tend to separate the little flecks of whatever sparkly stuff that is. If they sit on the palette too long, they separate out quite a bit. It's hard to bring it back to normal. So all I did was mix in some new Retributor armor gold. Okay. That is based, I think. And gonna move on to this part. Sorry, my knuckle is cut and it looks gross. I'm just using the Games Workshop. There's a weird hair that sticks out, a weird bristle that sticks out of that one. So I'm going to move back over by Winsor Newton. I want to do as little cleanup here as possible. Put that gold in there. I'm going to come back later and really worry about that sphere or globe or whatever it is. It's looking okay. Looks good because it's finally a big missing piece is looking like something for all that time. Is that? Oh yeah. Oh, I did last night. I think after I did stop, I did some more Nuln Oil and black washes on the underside of the sword versus the top. I wish I could brace. Yeah, let's do that. And when I'm done with this, like I said, I'm just going to go back and highlight on the armor with this same original gold in which I based that in. It's gonna need 2 coats in the spots for sure. So let this dry. I'm not worried about it getting around that right now, on that little sphere. It's okay. I'm worried, however, that this matches on both sides. There. Cool thing about this paint is it dries fast. So I can go back real quick and add a wash if I need to. Well, I do. But this part needs to be the brightest because the underside of it would be in shadow, which will be fine. Pretty easy to accomplish. All right. It's right there that I feel like needs more. Let that go. Okay, I'll give it a little bit chance to dry. I'm gonna grab some more of this. And now I'm just gonna go back and just pick out some places on the gold in the larger areas and pointier spots to bring them back up from that Reichland Flush Shade wash. I keep bumping that same spot. Ugh. Like here, let's see. It's kind of spot picking. There, 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 on that edge. Got some on the blue. Hit this, hit that. That should be okay. I don't know if you can see down in there what I want to do. So it's here, I'm hitting a little bit there. There. Ugh. I got some of that. Oh, I have a bad aim. Just a little bit of my regular purple base, some of the darker, or is it? So it looks looks like I keep jacking parts up. I need it to touch things up. Right there, I didn't notice that last time. So let me get touch-ups, always fun. I feel like I've had more on this than any in a long time. I think it's just because I'm nervous. I'm trying to grab one little gold. I want to go away. I think that'll do it. Okay. Back to the gold. And the tiny little tiny highlights. So I'm just hitting on this edge, the tops of these. Get a little bit there. Now for this sided, I'm going to keep it, I think, all gold, but I'm going to leave the wash on the eyeball part and only highlight the lids for now. And I'm going to hit the other part with more silver later. It's hard for me to get this. All right. There. Same thing. Let's tops of these. Some purple that needs to be fixed. I'll just do the front of this wrist. And same with just the top. That one. All right. Go back to my purple because I don't like. Where is it? This still looks strange. there, and then it was right there. Let that go. If you haven't noticed, I use my armpit to dry my brushes a lot of times. Okay, well that, I forgot to base hilt. That's what I do now. Keeping things gold and trying to make them as fancy and regal looking as possible. It's the hard part to get on camera. It's kind of tucked away. And again, I'll say it for the last time, hopefully. If you build this kit, leave the arms off. Paint them separate. It really would have helped quite a bit. Quite a bit. I really do like getting as close to a finished thing that I'm painting build-wise as possible, but sub-assemblies are a lifesaver sometimes. And absolutely necessary sometimes. Okay. So that one little thing I wanted to touch up, if I can. Looking odd. Oh, I'm gonna live with it. Gonna live with it. All right. Back to some Reichland Flesh Shade to do a wash on the gold. I know that's a lot on there, but I'm going to pick it off here in a second. I'm just going over everything. And already that makes that look like a billion times better. Let that dry for a bit. We hit the hilt, underside. Get some off of there. It's not really going to show up on the... I just hit his face. It's not going to really show up on the black part of that blade, which is okay. So let's let that dry. And what I'm going to do is go back to my lead belcher. And it's still damp enough to where it's workable. And I'm just going to go and highlight just the top, because this, remember, has been given some washes of Nuln Oil. I'm just kind of not dry brush so much, but just picking out the edges. Light glaze color over that. Now for this underside, I'm going to hit more towards the edge of that blade and just leave it. A little bit on the tip, because there'd be some light hitting there. Just blending it down. Okay, I hope you can see that. That's that. Now, I'm gonna get some iron breaker. Using that as a second. Did this dry up? No. My iron breaker dried up. It's okay. The lid didn't close all the way. Let's use what's close to that. Maybe some bolt gunmetal. Yeah. I have an old thing of bolt gunmetal. It's a little brighter than. Get a little bit of water. A little bit brighter than lead belcher. I'm going to do the same thing. And that is just kind of blend that color around. And then I'm going to go to Runefang Steel. Which this really needs shaking up. It's been sitting a while. And kind of do the same thing. I haven't really even cleaned my brush. Just getting a little bit of water. I'm just hitting, kind of blending it from the center down. Tip. Notice I haven't done anything to the underside. I'm leaving that like that. So we get this on this side, that there. Well, maybe I'll pick up a little bit here on that edge and just leave it. Alright, I think that sword's done. I'm going to leave it. Maybe a little bit of a wash later on, but that's what I'm going to stick with. Staff is not dry enough yet, so what I'm going to do is go to... Did I take it out already? Nope. Where is it? Nope. Nope. Liberator gold. This will be my... I should throw this on the paint mixer, but it's so loud. Yep, this needs to be crazy mixed. While I'm doing that, let's see if I can get it. How close are we? Man. Alright, I'll show you what I got that I use sometimes. So this, they sell them at hobby stores. Other people make their own. This is D battery operated. You just strap your paint right in there. Sometimes you gotta let it sit for a while, work on something else. If it's really old, it does a good job of shaking things up. Let's see if that helped. Might have to stir this one, which I don't normally do. It's been a while since I've used it. Let me get a stick somewhere. Oh, hobbies. Yep, I do have a stick. Let me grab one of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this stick. I don't know why. This must have sat for a very long time. The pigment is really, really clumped together down there. Like it's not even... Sometimes GW, you really make me mad. Colors are good. Sometimes they just... they act weird. Let's leave it at that for now. I don't know how much that even helped. I might have to throw this on for a while. Hey Magic Room, thanks for the follow. Hopefully it won't be as boring next time. So this gold is a really pale gold, and it is not picking up the right way, but I'm going to go ahead and see if it works. So all I want to do, this is just very faint highlight in some spots. Hitting those fine edges, points. Might just hit right there. Let's So you're looking for the light's going to hit it the most. That is not how that color's supposed to look. At the top of these things. A little bit there. Right there. On that elbow. There. Kind of dragging across the top of these shoulder pieces. Stick with that. Okay. Now, I'm just going to do tiny bit of Rune Fang steel and spots, which I already have from earlier. It's still ready. I don't know. Let's see, where can you see this the best? Let's make sure it's in focus. So I'm just going to kind of hit some really, almost exactly where I just did that other stuff. I'm just going to use this to brighten it. Going over the tips. That's too much. Almost like an edge highlight. And only where light would hit it for sure, so tops of these things. Gonna have to touch up a couple spots there. This elbow. There. I think that's all I want to do. So I'm going to repeat those steps on the staff. It's still a little wet, but it should be okay. Going back to my Retributor Armor Gold, which looks like garbage on the camera. This is what I based it in, but now I'm going to go back and just bring that color back out, avoiding recess areas, and I'm going to leave the underside because that would be in shadow. I'm going to hit the top parts of it more. Okay, so that's about done. Same thing here. Gonna just kind of pick out what would be, pick out what would be up here. More than some of that other stuff. I could dry brush it a bit, get it in those spots. Especially up here at that tip, because that would be picking up the most light. Now for the underside, you would still get some light on that. So it would sparkle a little bit more. But I'm just going to kind of drag the color down from there. And the same with this, going to hit parts of that hilt. That would be the brightest. Go from there. I am going to have to clean up that edge a bit, it looks like, but it's kind of pulling that color on here. Now I'll go back to that really bad mix of, man, Liberator Gold. I'm going to do the same thing again. This time picking out just a little bit less of their higher airs. And I'm going to stick to where I think the light would hit. So over here a little more on this side than the underneath. And even less over here. So I think I'm going to go with that. So look. Yep. And then I need a little bit more, just some Runefang steel, which is a very bright silver, so you could use any like super bright silver to pick out some little highlights and stuff. So what I'm going to do, you can't really see on my palette, but it's over here, just plain bright silver, and I'm just going to tips. Now that the way that model is, there's a little thing in there that I got to take care of, but I'm not even going to. So that's what I'm aiming for, just the tiniest of highlights. Back over to this. Same thing. Just picking out some spots. I'm going to go back and tone some of that down. And then same on the hilt. It's easier to see these things than on the how it looked on the little edge trims on the armor. I'm gonna go back to the base with like a bit of water on my brush. So the base retributor, like this feels like a bit too much there, so I'm gonna kind of tap it on there, and then that spot right there. There's just a bad thing on the armor. Okay. So for the staff, if you remember, if you watched the last one, which I doubt you did, this was Stegadon Steel, no, Incubi Darkness. Yes, Incubi Darkness with Nolan oil over it. And I'm just gonna go back. See this thing, this palette really hydrates it out. I'm going to go back and just add some stripes of color on there. It's really hard to see, and that's okay. That's what I want. Just going to build those up. Because the way that it, on the package and all the other artwork, they have this staff looking like green marble, and I don't want it all the way there. I don't want it like a green staff of marble, but I'm just kind of flicking it around. And building it up takes a little while. I'm going to add, well, let me do it again. I'm just barely putting any on there. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of, I think it was the Deepkin flesh into that mix and just see what it looks like. Yeah, it brightens it up a bit. So I'm gonna come back. Now, I know you can barely see it on the camera. And in real life you can barely see it too, but it's kind of how I want it. I'm going to add a little bit more white to that. Not white, but the Deepkin flesh. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, that you can pick it out a little better. Just kind of dragging those around. Do some underneath. And then just even a little more. But this time I'm going to only kind of put them up on top where the light would be. Like that. Yep. And I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's good. Let's go a little bit more. Let's push it a little more. How about tint? Okay. It's done. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it before I jack it up. And it looks like I need a little more base gold over that. Yep. Okay. Now, like I said before, I'm going to take some of this Ring Fang steel, and I want to really, I don't know if I can get this on here, but I'm going to hit the center of this eye. And then I'm going to go back and wash that again, but I think I got a little too much right there. Okay. Now, what to do about this? I kind of want it green. I want to keep everything cool colors. I was thinking of doing it red or something like that. I think the artwork has it with like an eye on there, but I just want to do mine like just a green, like a green marble ball. Let me go back and just real fast. Some of this Stick It On Still, or this Incubi Darkness, and touch up just a couple things on there. And there's one spot that's really been bugging me, and there's one spot on his arm that's still keeps popping through. Okay. And then under there, I noticed there's a bit of a bleed over. All right, good. I think we're there, almost there. Now, What do I got? Do I have... I think... I want to do this with... I want to use some transparent... Oh, where's my airbrush stuff? Let me just base this thing in... Kind of sticking what we've been doing. I'm going to put... What greens do I have that are going to work? Nothing there. Let me use a Scorpina green from Vallejo. A Scorpina. I'm going to... Just as a base. And it's not coming out. What happened here? How's that going to work? This is how things go for me. They never go right. Okay. I'm just going to drop some of that on there. And the new stand I ordered for this camera did not come today, which I thought it would. Alright. So I'm just going to do, I wonder if this even is going to be enough of a base coat. Okay. It's going to take a couple. I'm trying not to get it super far down in there. Although the wash I add later is probably going to help. And I want this kind of patchy. I don't want it smooth in terms of a coat. The pre-shading on this is going to help a bit with that. If I wouldn't have got it on, there's a spot on there that I got on there when I was base coating. I kind of jacked that up, but I kind of want, yeah. Maybe I'll use that new death color on this. New Death Watch. Alright. So kind of happy with that. Again, I never have a plan. So, kind of just... It sounds like craziness, but sometimes when you're mixing all your colors together and using colors to mix and make tints and shades with colors you've already used, it really helps bring everything together and creates a more cohesive paint scheme instead of just using stuff straight out of the pot all the time. So, or straight out of the tube or bottle or whatever you're painting, you should always try to keep going with what you got. So I think I'm just going to take some of the I got to shake it up, some Deepkin Flesh, tiny bit, and mix that into that green. And what I'm going to try and do is, you can see this, I'm just going to kind of spot it around like that, create almost like a marble effect. Same thing down here. lost some of that effect on that. There's just too much. But that's easy fix because now you can go back to that original. And this is, I didn't shake it up enough, which is kind of good. It kept it a bit watery. And I'm going to drop the original over that. Just kind of let it swirl together on its own. And then do the same thing. This side turned out better actually. And do the same thing again. Go back to the lighter version. I'm going to hit that with the hair dryer real fast because it's too watery. Good times. I don't have any yellow on. Let me put some yellow on. Put some yellow on there. Just take a tiny bit of, what is this, Flash Gets Yellow? Put it over here. Mix that over on this edge. A little more on that. Okay. And do the same thing. Just kind of tap it around. Seems like a lot of work for a gem. And a little more deepkin flesh into this. This time though, a little more on here. All right. Maybe a little bit of yellow tapped on that. So I'm just kind of loading up the brush with both colors. Just kind of playing with it around there. Just kind of dragging and swirling. Kind of liking that. I'll do a little bit more over there. Okay. Go back to this. I'm going to leave it there. Now, should I try some of this? This will be the first time. Hex Wraith Flame. Let me dry that up. So this is meant to paint the ghosts for the new Sigmar stuff. I'm going to gloss this thing later anyway. Yeah, let's stick with this. Now this, ooh, fresh pop. I'm going to put this around the edge and not over the whole thing. That's too much. So I'm going to drag some of that out of there by sticking my brush back in. Now I'm going to pull it up a little bit off to the sides. Not sure I like that. I think I'll fix that with some... Ugh. Got it where I don't want it. Gonna fix that with a dark wash later. This one I'm gonna go over the whole thing on the back side of it. Drag that out. See what it looks like up here. Oh, let's try it a bit. Alright, I'm gonna go back. Some of that really pale green that I had put. A little more on there. Okay. Now, I might have to repaint some of that gold. Might have to do that. I don't want it to really look like it's glowing, so I'm not adding any shading or feathering out anything there. I'm trying to think what else has to be done. Oh. Where's that Nolan oil? It's Nolan oil, black shade. I'm going to put over just that eye part. Come on, camera. Depending on how that dries, I might pick out some of that later. I'm going to put some of this just around this black shade around that gem part. It's dry enough now, I think. Yeah, that looks better. Like that. It gives it the depth it needs. Let's do it on this side. There. Yep. Okay. That looks okay. My problem is, like I thought, I think I do need to just barely touch up some of that gold. So let's do that. Around that. Let's go back to the base Retributor armor. Just barely tapping it. Try and get rid of some of that we don't need. There. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Gonna go back to that eyeball on the shoulder. Is this still wet enough? Yeah. With some Runefang steel. And just drop a tiny, tiny think pretty close to being done. So here's what I'm going to do real quick, since stuff's weird. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Real quick, I'm going to add the extra base stuff so that I can go ahead right and do this, let this dry overnight for a while. It doesn't take that long to dry, but for those of you who don't know, texture paint, this is like, Vallejo makes them, like, I love the big jars for big things. They make little jars for little things, but Citadel also makes some of their own. So, and I like Citadels, it's nice. So what I'm going to do is take some of this and build up on the base. This base already has a ton of extra rocks and things on it. I don't think I need to add, well, maybe I should, just so I'm consistent with some of the other bases I did for this. I added some little rocks. Of my own, so we'll do that. So I just scoop out. This is this jar is almost done. So just scoop out like a glob of it. It's too much, but and all you have to do is kind of get it on there. Use the other side of the stick, tap it around, and it dries looking like sand or mud. You can paint it. You can do washes on it, which is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to leave it, but I'm going to hide the seam on this guy for sure. Seam on that base. And that way tomorrow I can come back and paint all that, no problem. And then see if we're ready, of course, to move on and be done. My summer break's almost over, and this is the first thing I'll have finished for myself. Not fun. Alright, this toe. Push this in using the smaller side. You can take some sandpaper too and sand off the edges if it's looking like it came out too much. There's too much there. I'll even add some over the regular original base so it blends in together. But we'll leave it at that tonight. Remember the good old days when you had to make your own out of glue and rocks and sand? The thing that sucks though is these are for Silver Tower, which are supposed to be for inside. And this base doesn't really make sense. None of them do that I made for it, but they had, that's what they look like. Okay. So I'm going to sand that stuff off later. Use my hobby knife to take it off. Gonna add, and that just washes off with water. Add some of these stones. You can, and they'll stick in there like glue. You could add little skulls if you have some or whatever, but gonna go with that for now. Okay. So that's where we are for today. Oops. I just saw that message. How long has that been there? Next thing I'm gonna paint. King Kong. I have a big Kong I'm gonna do. As far as miniatures, I'm trying to think what's left in the box. My goal was to get all the Heroes for Silver Tower done. And I'm trying to think what's left, but I want to do something for that. I don't even know. But yeah, King Kong's next. I'm going to try and find a way to get that on here. And I'll at least do a out-of-the-box review. That's what's next. I'm going to start painting that. And then a couple other miniatures. Blood Bowl team after that. I'm trying to get Skaven done. But sorry I missed that. I have 2 screens. I got to figure out a way to do this. And thanks for following. I'll talk to you tomorrow.